You're on the phone talking to somebody about Marc Guehi. There have been developments. What can you tell us?
I'm talking to lots of people, not necessarily all about Marc Guehi. Look, the race to sign Marc Guehi is wide open at the moment. There isn't a front runner. There is no favourite. But I think we can narrow it down to 4 clubs. And the most interesting one at the moment is Manchester City, because we believe that City are the one club who are interested in signing him this month as well as next summer. Now, to get him this month, obviously they would have to put a pretty big transfer fee offer to Crystal Palace.
What's the big transfer fee? Given that he nearly went for 35 million on deadline day, so what's the big transfer fee in January?
So last summer he had a year left on his contract. Now he's got less than 6 months. Last summer, £35 million was almost enough to get him. I'm thinking still somewhere between 20 and 30 million pounds would be the kind of figure that
well, he's worth that, surely.
Well, he's an England international, but the only problem is that you could potentially get him as a free agent in the summer, and Manchester City are looking at that option as well. What we know is that City are likely to sign a centre-back this year because there are question marks over the future of John Stones, Nathan Ake as well. And obviously it makes sense to look at Marc Guehi because he's available for nothing in the summer. But the big question is, will they offer enough to tempt Palace to sell him now? And our information is that they've not made an offer for the player, but potentially watch this space over the next few days, because there are also 3 other clubs who want to sign him.
Spill the beans.
But they want to sign him in the summer. The 3 clubs are, the first one is Liverpool. He almost joined Liverpool on deadline day. It collapsed at the last minute, £35 million deal. Liverpool are pushing to sign him as a free agent in the summer. Arsenal are ready to join the race to sign him in the summer as well. I think Arsenal have a lot of strength in depth at the back. Also, Gabriel, William Saliba have signed new contracts. So I would say Arsenal's need is not as pressing as some of the other clubs. But having said that, he's an England international, available on a free. Of course, a club as big and successful as Arsenal are going to look at this situation. The final one is Bayern Munich. Now, they're interesting because they're a foreign club. They're the one interested club who can speak to him now.
And their manager was a great centre-back, which I'm sure Marc Guehi would love.
Of course, I think he would be excited about the prospect of playing for the champions of Germany and also working with Vincent Kompany and playing alongside Harry Kane as well. And they can speak to him now. They can agree a pre-contract deal with him now. And our colleagues at Sky Germany are saying just in the past few days, they have really stepped up their efforts to try and convince Marc Guehi to move to Germany in the summer.
My producer's telling me, Mark, you've got a sentence to tell me. One sentence. Where will he be playing his football come beginning of February?
In the Premier League. That's a sentence. Can I just say one quick thing on the Marc Guehi situation?
Go on, real quick.
For the clubs that want to sign him, whether they sign him in January or in the summer, it's essentially going to cost them the same thing. Because if they give 25 million to Crystal Palace now to get him, or they give Marc Guehi 25 million as a signing-on fee in the summer, it's going to cost them the same amount of money. The only difference is that Marc Guehi will get that money instead of Crystal Palace.
Exactly. So
I don't think he cares about the money, by the way.
No, of course.
I think he'll go for the club that's best for his career.
Indeed. So, City interested, of course. And remember, Ruben Diaz, Josko Gvardiol are both out. Ryan Aït-Nouri, he's coming back from the Africa Cup of Nations. That's been delayed. Here's why.
We'll see how does he feel tomorrow. This afternoon. Ryan Aït-Nouri's come back from the AFCON, but unfortunately lost the connection. They're a little bit late. But yeah, we'll see in the training session how does he feel, and we're going to take a decision that no risk for the players, that get injured again.
So he's missed his connections, but he is on his way back, Aït-Nouri. That doesn't solve City's centre-back problems, though, Mark. So if it's not Guehi, who's it going to be?
Well, we know that they're in the market to try and sign centre-backs over the course of this window. However, Pep Guardiola has also said they won't be making the same number of signings that they did, or not. Right? You know, that's the difference with the business end of the season. This is where Pep Guardiola will say, if you want to win the Champions League and the Premier League, I need a centre-back and I need him in now. But we know that they're definitely looking, and Marc Guehi, as Carve said, is on their radar and is someone that they have actively looked to sign in this January transfer window.
Antoine Semenyo in. Does that mean Oscar Bob out?
At the minute, he's injured, so he won't be going anywhere. Maybe as the window progresses, we've got 3 weeks still to go, there is a very good chance that his game time has been limited at Manchester City, so therefore he'll be saying, right, I want to play, and Pep probably will say, look, you're not going to get as much game time as you'd like, so have a look at the options. There are 2 or 3 Premier League sides and a number of teams in Europe that are interested in taking Oscar Bob on loan. So, yeah, you could see potentially something happening when he gets back fit towards the end of the window.
OK.
A couple of things I want to touch base with on you, Kev, with you even, about Manchester City. Oscar Bob. A lot of talk that he is going to be heading to Germany, to Borussia Dortmund. How close do you think that could be? And is that the right move for Oscar Bob, 22 years old?
Exciting, and that's what Dortmund still want to do. They've done a lot of business with Manchester City, as we know. But he wouldn't be a guaranteed starter straight away. You look at the positions they have, you know, he wouldn't necessarily walk into the 11.
So here we go. Let's hear from Pep Guardiola. He might be asked about Bob and Marc Guehi. Here's Pep ahead of the Newcastle semi-final.
To you on Saturday, but a lot of positives to take. What was the most pleasing aspect of that game, and what put the biggest smile on your face after that game?
Of course, we went through the way we respect the opponent. He was in low division. It's the best way to do it. We did, really good things. That the first 4 goals, 3 deflection. When in the last games we missed in the penalty spot a lot. Actions of football is sometimes, or the ball sometimes is tricky. Went through, forgotten, and next one.
Antoine Semenyo made his debut and scored. He looks to be settling in quite well. What have been your first impressions of working with him in the few days that you've been together?
The impression is what they have done in Bournemouth for many, many years. Is apparently, I'm pretty sure that is a really nice guy. And in few actions, he showed what he showed in Bournemouth, and hopefully can continue to do it here.
And tomorrow, a trip to Newcastle, always a tough game. With them being the defending champions of the Carabao Cup, more pressure on them to try and get a result and go through?
No, I don't know what should be more pressure on them for the fact they are champion. So done really well since many years, and now we are again. They won last season, semi-finals, and you're right, so they are the champion, and the opportunity for a lot of us, but especially for a lot of new players to reach a final.
Hi Pep. You scored 10 goals at the weekend. That was the first time a Manchester City side has done that since 1987. After all of the trophies you've won, all of the personal accolades you've got, how much pride do you take in just achieving small records such as that one?
No, it's fine, but I don't take much. So games sometimes happen what happen, so I understand for extras it's not, always feel uncomfortable a little bit, lower division, score 10 goals. So we do our job. I think always we talk about that. So the best way to respect is do what you have to do to improve, because when you play in games, it's the best way to improve things that we can do better, that or we talk to see, how it works when we do it, but it's not, I would say, nothing I would say is special for the fact that when we'll review our period here, that will not be a thing, we scored 10 goals in Exeter, so no, absolutely not.
Just a word on how last season finished without a trophy. Do you feel as though there's any...
No, we won a trophy.
At the end of last season, I mean, you won...
No, we won a trophy, Community Shield, we won a trophy.
It's been quite a lengthy time in between those 2 trophies ahead of your next one, comparison to what you've done in the past. Do you feel as though there's any extra pressure for you to win the League Cup with it being the first available trophy this season?
A lot of pressure, we feel. It's not about win or no win trophies. It's be how the team grows up, how a team is better. Last season we didn't deserve to win just more than just 1 trophy because we didn't play good. So satisfaction to win a trophy when we are not playing good can happen. You know, knockout stages, make a lucky and miss it to it. It's not about that. Believe me, it's not about that. We are here to make the team playing better, the satisfaction to make a good performance for ourselves, our fans said, oh, we have fun during 95 minutes, so the team playing good. That is the point. The next game, do it a little bit, things that we can do better, do it better. That is the target, and we see how does he feel tomorrow, this afternoon. Ryan Nuris come back from the AFCON, but unfortunately lost the connection. They're a little bit late. But we see in the training session how does he feel, and we're going to take a decision that no risk for the players, that get injured again.
Pep, Eddie Howe said this morning that Manchester City are the hardest team to play against over 2 legs in this country, and tactically you would have something ready for Eddie Howe and something up your sleeve. Have you?
I didn't sleep tonight thinking how my genius come to create something for Eddie Howe, honestly.
Do you prefer 2 legs for a semi-final?
No.
Does it suit your side better?
No.
You'd rather have a one-off game?
Yeah. I said for 10 years ago, when we won Carabao Cups, I would love the semi-final Carabao Cup, 1 game.
Newcastle at home have won 11 of their last 13. They have found form again, and they've knocked you out of this competition before a couple of seasons ago.
For many years, I think since Eddie Howe took over, so many years. Look how many games won in the last minutes. The pride is there. The crowd push always have been like that, right? So long time always. In this stadium is special, but at the same time, in semi-finals, if we play against Arsenal, Chelsea will be as difficult as Newcastle is. Should not be, I would say, differently.
We'll certainly log there for 10:30 p.m. this evening. Someone stop.
There we go, to the point, as he often is, Pep Guardiola. Let's just pick up on what we were talking about with Oscar Bob, and he may well get asked about things after the embargoed section there, with Bob potentially going to Dortmund. And any other suitors? Is it just going to be the German side, do you think, for him?
That has been the most persistent link. And I think, Dortmund have changed how they play, which is one of the reasons Jamie Gittins eventually left Dortmund, because under Niko Kovac, all of the width tends to come from the wing-backs rather than the wingers. So he would have to operate in a more central role, which I think he's perfectly capable of. But then he is in competition with Julian Brandt. He's in competition with Karim Adeyemi, Chukwuemeka. They've got lots of players in that position. So what would be interesting is if he does come into Dortmund, and he's the kind of profile they'd want to develop, but if he does come in there, is he going to start every game between now and the end of the season? No, probably not. He'd have to really scrap for his place, I think.
Marc Guehi is a name that will not go away in the January window. Liverpool remains to be seen whether they will have their say. And away from Premier League suitors, Kev, we talked about this for the last 10 days on these shows. Inter Milan, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, all fancying a bit of Marc Guehi, and why not? But how likely that they dip their toes into that market?
Well, I look at Barcelona, for example, and he's the kind of guy that would make a difference. I think you could, at the moment, they're playing Gerard Martin in that left-sided centre-back role. He's a full-back, really. He's a project of Hansi Flick at the moment. But I think Marc Guehi would go into that team and instantly improve it. What's been the big problem for Real Madrid in the last couple of seasons? Defensive. They've had all kinds of injury problems. They've had players in and out of form. Raul Asensio's been over-promoted. I think he's played way more games than you could have realistically expected. If you put Guehi in that Real Madrid team, again, instantly it improves. Bayern are interested as well, but he'd have a fight on his hands with Upamecano and Tar, but he'd be part of a very, very strong unit. So the big guns in Europe are absolutely going to be looking at him.
Yeah, and he will, Michael, want to go somewhere where he's playing every week, guaranteed, in a World Cup year, because he's got that World Cup place very much in his sights, hasn't he? What's it going to take for a Premier League club to get him in January?
Well, I just look at it from the Crystal Palace side. If Crystal Palace supporters, maybe not the Steve Parish side, is that a few weeks ago they were 5th, now they're 12th. That's a lot of money in the merit payments. Every Premier League club that is in the Conference League should be favourites to win that competition most years. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that absolutely is.
Yeah, I mean, Fiorentina seems to be in it every year. But, I mean, in terms of names, you would expect Palace to be right up there with a chance to win it. But all of this, without Marc Guehi, makes it 10 times harder. I mean, you even see him on Saturday against Macclesfield at the defeat. He's speaking to the fans, and whether he's apologising, I don't know, the Palace fans who are talking to Marc Guehi can tell us. But he still has that leadership and that responsibility as a Crystal Palace guy. And as I say, you're not just getting a great player, it seems to be you're getting a great guy as well.
But out of the Premier League teams that we've mentioned, and there's been sort of loose rumours about Arsenal getting involved as well, Manchester City, Kev, and we just heard from Pep Guardiola there, are the ones that actually desperately need him, and he would play there right now. Guardiola out for, it looks like it's going to be the season with a fractured leg, and Diaz has got a bad hamstring for 6 or 7 weeks as well, so he would slot straight in there.
It would make a lot of sense for them to do that deal. What I'm interested in is the Oliver Glasner role in all this, because it's believed that Glasner effectively said you cannot sell him to Liverpool on deadline day. He dug his heels in, which he's done at other clubs. He's done at Wolfsburg. He's done at Eintracht Frankfurt. What's his view on this? Because he won't want to lose such an important player midway through the season.
But do they not need to look further ahead now, assuming that Glasner's not going to be staying at Selhurst Park past the summer?
That's a fair point. You know, how much weight does his voice carry if he's not going to stay beyond this season? But it is a calculation they've got to make, because... And Guehi's got to make as well, because Manchester City's a very attractive move. It's always going to be. But the number of clubs that can sign him opens up hugely if he's available on a free transfer.
Yeah, a penny for Steve Parish's thoughts.